Welcome to Top Shelf. My name's David Pierce, and on this show we bring you the best in consumer electronics past, present, and future. This week it's all three, really. We're talking about Google Glass. It's one of the most anticipated products we've seen in a long, long time. And we just got one last week. We plunked down $1,500 for it, and we've been playing with it to see if this really is the future. But really, it's kind of part of the past, too.
On some level, Google Glass is a long time coming. In science fiction books and movies for decades, we've been imagining a world where we're not looking at our phones or tapping incessantly on keyboards. In the future, we've learned we'd do everything with our voice, or maybe even our thoughts. Our computers, whatever they might look like, will project data into the world around us. We'll wave our arms like crazy to move information around, like Tom Cruise did in Minority Report. Or maybe we'd be like Tony Stark with a heads-up display permanently in front of our face while we order around our own personal Jarvis. Every author and director has a slightly different vision, but they've all bet on the same thing. Technology's not going to be on a screen anymore. It's going to be out in the world, on top of the world, inside the world, and we're going to be spending a lot of time poking it, prodding it, and especially talking to it. So far, Google Glass is a small, cautious, sort of imperfect step in that direction. It's designed to be used with your voice. You say, "Okay, Glass," and then issue a command. Take a picture. Email my girlfriend. Show me who won the Yankee game. It's less like talking to a friend than it is issuing a series of dictates, but Glass obediently carries them out. Well, most of the time. Sometimes Glass goes to sleep, and you have to wake it by either tapping the side of your head like your Cyclops, or by tipping your head upward at the exact degree you'd use for a slightly exaggerated eye roll. And while Glass understands and executes its basic commands, navigation is a bit of a chore. You swipe along the temple of the glasses to move forward and backward through the endless Glass interface. From the home screen, you can swipe through every interaction you've ever had with the device, or swipe to Settings, or Google Now, or to other apps. Swiping upward takes you back, and tapping on the temples is like pressing Enter. And that's all once you're connected to your phone, which you need before you can do much of anything. Glass can't connect to the internet on its own, so without your smartphone, it's really nothing more than an unimpressive camera glued to your face. Once you've signed into your Google account and linked it to your Glass, it uses a QR code and the camera in the Glass to connect, and it's probably the first time a QR code has ever been the simplest way to do anything. But the process is still far from over. Every contact you want to email or message, you'll have to manually add from your phone or computer. Every app you want to install, every place you want to share images, you just can't manage anything from Glass. Your smartphone is the engine, it's the power source. Glass is just an accessory attached to your face. Glass isn't anywhere near finished, and we'd know that even if Google hadn't said it over and over. Some of the gestures don't work reliably, and Glass doesn't understand me quite like I want it to. It's like being in a foreign country where no one fully understands English, and like the ugly American I am, I still find myself yelling, "Where is McDonald's?" into the upper right corner of my eyeline more often than I should. Glass may come straight out of science fiction, but OK Glass doesn't begin quite the technological revelation that Star Trek's communicators or HAL 9000 taught us to hope for. Actually, now that I think about it, maybe Google followed HAL a little too closely.
HAL! HAL!
So one of my favorite things about Glass is actually people's first reaction to it. Everybody wants to have their picture taken with it, and they want to take a picture with it. And then everybody has these weird sort of different reactions. So I brought Chris Ziegler, who has never tried this on before, and it basically just shoved it on your face and was like, "Here you go."
Yeah.
And you like haven't spoken to me since this started. It's basically what's happening right now. Is
It's
that fair?
a little, yes, and it is a little weird, and I'm a little discombobulated
So
by this thing.
what do you think so far? So you put it on your face. What next?
My first reaction is that it doesn't. I think that I expected, for whatever reason, the menu available options to be significantly richer. Like you say, "Okay, Glass," and you only get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 menu items.
And there's like sort of a way to scroll through them, but it's not really obvious.
Right. Wait, can you scroll through it with your head? Is that possible?
So I've wondered this the whole time I've been using this, and I can't tell, because sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't work, which is kind of like the whole thing with Google Glass. But yeah, so there's not that much you can do. But you took a selfie already, didn't you? Oh no, this is going to be a huge mistake. What are we Googling here?
We're Googling whatever's coming out of your mouth.
But yes, as much you, oh.
The Princess Bride.
So this is what I love about Google, is like it doesn't actually like search for anything of any value.
It seems to just pull up Wikipedia.
You can't ask it a question though. Like ask it a question.
Oh, like
What year did Abraham Lincoln die? Try that.
Okay, Glass. Google, what year did Abraham Lincoln die?
See, that's not bad. And it's actually telling you in the weird speaker over your ear. So like if you ask it a very specific question, it works.
That would make you a killer at trivia.
That's true.
Trivia
actually.
night at a bar.
Just imagine you're like thinking pensively. You're like, what year did Abraham Lincoln die?
Ignore.
You're like, oh, I got it.
Ignore the Google Glass on my face.
Right.
Pretend it's not there.
I'm just thinking aloud towards the right corner of my eye.
Oh, this is so weird. So one thing I noticed is that if you move your eyeball very quickly, the R, G, and B separate out from one another, and that's a signature of DLP displays. I don't know what kind of display Google is using in Glass.
Yeah, they're weird about talking about the specs of it. They compare it to what it's like on a high def TV from 8 feet away.
Which isn't helpful.
Doesn't mean anything, yeah.
And so yeah, that's a little, that's something that I would like to see them change on the final version.
So what does that mean? It's a DLP display. Like, what does that actually
It's like,
practically mean?
like a DLP TV, which has, I think they call it there's an official name for it, it's the rainbow effect. So like if you scan the display very quickly, you see the R, G, and B individually.
Right.
And so that's a little distracting because it's just showing you white, basically, white fonts, white text.
Right.
But if you look left and right really fast, you see RGB.
Yeah, it also made it really hard to film. We had, first of all, it's like this tiny little screen,
Right.
and we ended up having to sort of shoot it, and it looks a lot better than it looked in that video we were showing. It's actually like, at least in my opinion, as long as you're looking at it fairly normally,
Yeah.
it's not that
Right. Yeah, if you're
much
just
of an
looking
issue.
straight at, now, the other problem is that you have to go like this to turn it on without touching it, which,
And the best is you kind of have to do it like 4 or 5 times sometimes. So you're just
Right.
standing there, you're like,
Right. Yeah, I'm just nodding. I'm nodding my approval.
what's
at
up,
something.
everybody? Everybody walking past me?
And
What
if
guys
you,
doing?
maybe this is a setting you can change. In fact, it probably is. But if you turn it on by holding your head up and then you put your head back down, the display turns off almost instantly. So you just have to sit here like this while you're asking your question, or googling for instructions or navigation instructions or whatever. So yeah, they have some things to work through.
Yeah. So what have you discovered so far? You were just like messing around through the interface and you were finding.
I
some
tried.
stuff.
I tried calling you.
Right.
Didn't work because it couldn't find a phone number for you.
Right. So that I should mention is like the worst part about Glass right now. Is like what I would love is if it hooked into all of my Google stuff automatically, and you would think it would because it's Google.
Right.
So like it doesn't seem that hard, but then they have you have to go in and manually add every single, like in Safari here I have to go in and add every single contact I want.
Yeah.
It's just a giant pain.
It kind of reminds me of the CR48, right? Because it's like, no, I mean, it's like, it's this really early hardware that they just want to get out there.
Right.
And the software sucks, the hardware sucks, but, the hardcore, the bleeding edge people are going to love it. And I think that Glass is the same, right?
Yeah.
If you can seriously walk around with it, which I don't know if I would have the guts to, but
Fair.
but some people
Yeah,
might.
I will say we went out to shoot the video we were just watching, and we got stopped by a lady and a man. They were I think together. I don't know. Not important.
It was complicated.
So, right, exactly. I didn't want to ask. But so they stopped us and we were talking and we had like a conversation, and the guy goes, "So have you ever picked up any girls at that?" And I was like, no, just none, like negative women with this. And he was like, I was talking to this girl about it, and he was like, well, you got one in her, and she just immediately was like, no, never, I would never date a guy with Google Glass, and then like turned and walked away. I was like, well, this might not be the chick magnet I was hoping.
Yeah,
it would be.
I mean, and it doesn't help that the camera doesn't seem to be very good, because you could say, oh, let me take a nice picture of you, but the camera just isn't that great. One thing I wanted to try while I'm here is I want to see if I can create a screenception by taking a picture of the...
Oh, nice.
Okay, Glass, take a picture. Oh, no, that's not going to... Yeah. So it doesn't end the world, it turns out, if you take a picture of the screen. Okay, well, that's good.
I was pretty sure.
That's good.
No, I mean, the camera, the one thing I do like about the camera is how just like seamless it is. We sent like Sam Sheffer, our social guy, to the Justin Timberlake concert.
Of course.
Because as you do.
As you do.
Right. He went and he loved just being able to stand there and like look at a thing and take a picture of it.
Yeah.
And it would take a picture of relatively that thing.
Right.
Which is cool. But yeah, the camera, it's kind of a long way to go before it's actually a good camera.
Yeah, it's not great. I will say that I'm impressed with the audio quality. I don't know how it would perform at a concert.
Yeah.
I think I remember Sam saying that he couldn't hear anything, but
Well, so it's bone conduction.
right,
And you've
and
used
you can feel it.
Right. So is bone conduction like? Is it going to be a thing? They've been talking about it in smartphones. Is it actually useful tech here
I don't
or
think
anywhere?
It is for low fidelity stuff.
Okay.
You can never, some company makes bone conduction stereo headsets that are designed for like swimmers, so they can listen to music while they're
interesting.
swimming. But I don't think that it's very high quality. right? And
just sort
this
of
is
there.
the same thing, right? Like the idea that the reason why they're doing it is so that you can hear in more situations. Like you can be out on a New York City street and hear, these alerts and tones and voice navigation instructions. But am I going to want to listen to music on this thing? Well, no. For one thing, there is no left side. But but even if there was, I don't think that I'd.
Do you ever have that thing where you're listening to music in two headphones and then you take one out and it like throws your whole balance off? That kept happening to me with this, where it was like I was constantly, my whole brain was just like veering right as I was.
Yes,
it
and
was
it doesn't.
really bizarre.
It doesn't help that you can feel, like you can seriously like feel it. Like when it makes a sound, there's like a pressure on the right side of your head where the bone conduction is.
Yeah.
And I can see why that would be.
It just feels great. It's exactly what you want.
It's a nice massaging sensation. It's lovely.
So what do you like? We've been talking about glass forever, right? It's been out there. They've been talking about it. It's like this is the first time you've tried it. What did you expect? How was it?
I expected it to be
different?
white or orange. First of all, I'm a little disappointed in your color selection. I'm blaming you personally.
Yeah, I did it. I'm so sorry.
But you can obviously see how and why this has potential, but it's just so early, both in terms of software and in terms of hardware, and in terms of just like basic like social acceptance of having this weird thing on your head.
Yeah.
All of that I think is kind of like collaborating against Google pushing this to the mainstream soon. But you can imagine how like 5-10 years down the road, these things are $99. And they just look like regular eyeglasses. It's going to be a different ballgame.
Well, but so for you, Chris Ziegler, a day in the life of Z Power.
Yeah.
Where does glass come in? For me, it was directions. Like I actually loved having a thing that I could just be like, oh, I wonder if there's a Starbucks nearby, and it would just like know and sort of find me a Starbucks. Like where does it fit in for you?
I will tell you exactly how it fits in for me.
Okay.
In fact, I'll show you. I'll demonstrate.
Go.
Okay, glass. Hang out with David Pierce. Oh, I can't. No Google Plus contact, but I would definitely.
So our account for this, we're using one of our test accounts, and it's actually suspended because I think Google doesn't know what to do with the fact that we have Google Glass connected to this account.
Yeah, it's confused.
But it does normally work.
Right, and I would hang out with you.
So you want to do that? You just want to walk around and be like, hey, what's Dieter up to, and just hang out with
and
Dieter.
then just do a little call, a little voice caller.
Call.
I guess there isn't. I mean, I could probably see him. Is that the idea? I could see him in the hangout.
Well, he'd be able to see you too, I guess.
No,
I don't know. So this is the weird thing about. Well, he'd just be at his computer or something, presumably.
Right. I mean, if I held the phone up, then he could see me.
Right. There needs to be. That's true. There needs to be another camera that, or
Faces
just
you.
your one
Like-
eye. It's just like
No, it would
just
have to
focuses here.
it would have to be like on this little stem that you could like rotate out, and then it faces back at you.
Then all anybody would do is just selfies. Just
Right.
Google Glass selfies.
Selfies all the time.
And you're golden.
Ever since Vine added front-facing camera capability, it's all selfies all the time.
Dude, Jack Dorsey on the half of his face with the Vine is just.
Yep. Brilliant.
It's perfect.
It is perfect.
Yeah. So what else? You want to be able to hang out, but there's they've talked about all these other apps that sort of to me seem not super useful. There's like Sketch, and it's like I don't know that I want to take a picture and like annotate it on my. I don't even know how that works necessarily.
Well,
what else?
So the first thing I'll say is that until they get to the point where glass, at the very least, they need to get it to the point where I can wear it all day. It's just like a phone. Like it needs to be able to last a day. If it's lasting, 3.5 hours?
Yeah, it's somewhere between like 3 and 4
It's
hours.
like, I'm not going to be home and be like, oh, I'm going to dinner. Let me go grab my glass and put it on. Like that's not how you're going to use it. You're going to either have it on or you're going to have it off.
Yeah.
And so they need to get past that hump in order to enable an entire like set of apps that aren't really useful right now. Like simple example, like the New York Times app. Like I really like the idea of just having breaking news fed to me all day in my eyeball. That's
really
cool.
That sounds like misery.
I'm way
where
into
it's
it.
just like, hey, guess what just happened?
I'm way into it. Like that's I want to feel connected, and I don't want to be the jerk that's pulling his phone out and looking at.
Actually, I will say it was. Did you get the emergency alert on your phone this morning? There was a flood in New York apparently. Maybe it was just in my neighborhood in Brooklyn, but. There was a flood alert, and it occurred to me this morning. I was sitting there, I was like, that would be a handy thing. Like my phone's going crazy. It'd be nice if it was just like, hey, it's flooding, go inside.
Yeah,
like, that's actually kind of useful.
That would actually be super useful. You can. I mean, it's so obvious the potential of having a display in your eyeball all the time.
But so okay, here's my last question for you, and this is what I totally don't understand. What's different about Google Glass versus like if I just held my phone here all the time?
But you would hold your phone there all the time.
Yes, that's true.
That's the point. No, you're absolutely right.
The idea is just that it's here all the time.
Yeah, well, so there are two things, right? One is that some guy made like a homemade glass this week, and the critical thing, the reason why it is not a homemade glass, is that it doesn't have a transparent display. Being able to have this thing that's sort of like, basically out of your way, even though it's right
Yeah.
in front of your face, is critical.
That's true.
And then also there's the simple fact that you're not going to hold your phone up all day. So I think
I don't see why not. You just have like you need one of those things that they give dogs with like the carrot in front of them that makes them run. Just hang my phone right here.
I think no, that's where your front-facing camera goes.
Oh, that's true. I gotta leave space for that.
I think the more interesting battle in the next few years is going to be between this form factor and this form factor, the smartwatch.
Interesting.
Because there's going to be so much overlap in what they're trying to accomplish, right? You're going to get text messages delivered to your eyeball. You're going to get text messages on your wrist. You're going to get weather alerts here and here. So I can see a lot of conflict there, and I can definitely see why people would kind of like fold into one of those two camps and just not have both. Except for me, who of course will have both.
Well, I was gonna say you're a big Chris Ziegler guy who owns. Did you buy a Palm Folio recently? Did I make that up?
Not recently.
Were you
I do own a Folio. It has been in my collection for many years, however.
Okay, fair enough. But so you're a guy who buys lots of tech, but just
garbage.
like
You can say it, David.
garbage, useless things that no one has ever needed ever in their lives,
right.
and sold for $8 on eBay.
Right.
Yeah. But so you're also a big watch guy, right? So
Yes.
where do you think you land between glasses and watch? I feel like for me, I land on watch because as much as they want to say it's out of my way, it's still in my way. Like it's still going to be there, and the watch is genuinely like I'm wearing a watch now, and I don't notice it unless
and it's
I
also
want
a
it.
social norm to wear a watch.
Right.
It is not a
Nobody
social
looks
norm.
at me funny when I go like
Right,
this.
exactly.
Yeah.
One thing that's, for me, the killer app for smartwatches is vibration, because you frequently can't feel your phone ring in your pocket, especially if you're like walking. You can't feel it if you get like a text message. You always feel the vibration on your wrist.
Right. God, phantom vibrations on your face are going to be the worst. You're just going to walk around, you're like, what just happened? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Yeah, nothing happened. Thought I got a text message, no dice. No dice.
Yeah, we're all going to hell.
yes.
We're going to die really,
Yes.
really soon.
Yes, we are.
All right,
With
you have
less
to go.
advice. Yes, I
So get out of here, and you use that to get you. Actually, it won't get you anywhere because you'll go down into the New York subway, and it'll be like, I can't tell you anything. I can just take a picture and probably get you arrested.
I'm actually going to sell this on eBay right now.
and then buy more Palm Folios.
Yes.
With the proceeds.
Right.
All right, awesome. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
So, the future is much more exciting than the present and the past for Google Glass. They're both cool and there's some nifty stuff going on, but what's really exciting about Glass, both from Google's perspective and consumers' perspective, is what's coming next. So we sent Evan Rogers to figure out what is coming next.
The funny thing about Google Glass is the expectations clearly exceed the reality. The first thing people want to do is take a picture and have their picture taken. But after a few awkward voice commands, they're ready to take it off and admit that it's pretty cool, but there's just not that much you can do with it right now. But we're starting to see developers stretch their legs in terms of what you can do. In addition to what's available right out of the box, you can now get hourly updates from the New York Times app, send and receive tweets, and upload videos directly to YouTube with the new full-screen Beam app. There's also plenty of apps coming soon, like Evernote and others. But some developers aren't waiting around. A few have successfully rooted Glass, allowing them to run apps that Google otherwise wouldn't approve. One app, Winky, enables you to take a picture discreetly just by winking. Another lets you run the full Android desktop right from the eyepiece. The Explorer edition of Google Glass was designed so that developers could try new things, but the speed at which it was rooted has caused some to speculate about the downsides of an ever-present microphone and camera. Someone could, in theory, tap into your Glass without you ever knowing, but for right now, hacking Glass requires physical access, and hopefully, it'll stay that way. Right now, Glass is a concept physically manifested. It's an expensive accessory that has far more potential than it has functionality, but that's okay. As units arrive on the stoops of developers, we'll undoubtedly see the number of apps expand pretty quickly. Glass will be a playground for the imaginative, and though we'll experience some growing pains, people are excited, and ultimately, that's what matters.
For now, Google Glass is really more interesting than it is good. It's good just for the fact that it works, but the future is really where it's going to start to get interesting. And part of that future is coming next week at Google I/O, where Google's bound to talk a lot more about Glass and try to get developers and buyers on board for this to actually be a real product. Speaking of which, we'll be at Google I/O next week, bringing you all the news on Glass plus all the news on everything that Google announces, and it's usually a lot. So we'll see you then.